Rain hit my face like cold slaps. I stood there, soaked, watching her zip up her suitcase. "Mara, you're really leaving?" My voice cracked. She didn't even look at me. "I told you, Aiden, I can't live like this anymore." "Like what?" I stepped closer. "Like being with someone who actually loves you?" She turned, her eyes sharp under the dim hallway light. "Like being with someone who can't give me what I deserve." I froze. "Deserve? I've been breaking my back for us." "For you?" She laughed softly. "You've been trying, sure? But trying doesn't pay bills, Aiden. Trying doesn't get me the life I want." I felt my chest tighten. "So what are you saying? That I'm not enough?" She met my eyes, cold and certain. "You're nothing without me." The words landed harder than the rain outside. I blinked, trying to steady myself. "Say that again?" She grabbed her coat. "You heard me?" I stepped forward, desperate. "Mara, don't do this. We can fix it. Whatever it is, we can." The sound of a car horn cut me off. I looked past her shoulder and saw him. Eli Ward, leaning against a sleek black car, holding an umbrella. The kind of man who never had to fight for anything. Mara's voice softened, almost pitying. "I hope one day you understand. Love doesn't build empires, Aiden. Power does." She walked out the door before I could move. I followed, but my legs felt heavy, my heart heavier. "Mara," my voice echoed in the street. She didn't turn around. Eli opened the umbrella for her, his hand resting at the small of her back. She laughed at something he said. That laugh used to belong to me. Rain poured harder. My shirt clung to my skin, my fingers numb. I could barely see them through the blur of water and tears. I shouted, "I'll make you regret this." Eli smirked as he held the car door open. "We'll see about that." The car pulled away, taillights fading into the storm. For a moment, I just stood there. The puddles reflected the man I'd become, broke, forgotten, pathetic. I walked back into the apartment. Everything smelled like her perfume. The walls were covered with reminders of her, the sketches she said she loved, the cracked photo frame on the nightstand, the silver necklace I bought her last year. I picked up the necklace. My hand shook as I stared at it. "This is what I was to you, right? A charity case." My voice trembled. I opened the window and threw it into the street. The clink of metal against concrete echoed louder than the thunder. The apartment felt emptier than ever. I sank onto the couch, dripping wet. My phone buzzed a message from Mara. "Don't call me again." "Move on, Aiden." I stared at it for a long time. Then I opened my drawer and pulled out an old notebook, blank pages. Untouched since college, my hand hovered over the first page before. I wrote a single word in bold letters, Empire. I whispered to myself, "You said I was nothing without you. Let's see what nothing becomes." Lightning flashed outside, flooding the room with white light. My reflection stared back at me from the window. A broken man. Yes, but a dangerous one now. I closed the notebook. This ends tonight. The rain drowned the city. My heart, my hope, my love, all of it washed away with it. What remained was something new, something sharper, a promise. The contract was on the table. Another 7-figure deal. Another signature that didn't make me feel a thing. "Congratulations, Mr. Cross," the client said, smiling too wide. "You've built quite an empire in just 2 years." I forced a smile. Empires rise faster when they're built on pain. He laughed awkwardly, thinking it was a joke. I shook his hand, and as soon as the door closed, the room felt silent again. Glass walls. Polished marble floors. City skyline glittering like diamonds. Everything I once dreamed of. Everything I thought would fix me. It didn't. Zara's voice cut through my thoughts. "The board meeting's in 20 minutes, Aiden." I turned. She stood at the door, tablet in hand, hair tied back, efficient as always. Her eyes met mine for a second too long. "Cancel it," I said. "They'll survive without me for one day." She hesitated. "You never miss meetings." "Maybe I'm tired of pretending I care." She walked closer, lowering her voice. "You do care. You've built this from nothing. I smiled bitterly. Exactly. Nothing built this. I just gave it a name. Her expression softened. You mean her? I didn't answer. The sound of rain against the glass filled the silence. She set the tablet down. You don't talk about her anymore, but you still look like you do. I poured coffee, watching the dark liquid swirl. She said I was nothing without her, so I built a world where her name means nothing. Zara studied me quietly. Then why does it still sound like it means everything? I looked at her, really looked at her. She was the opposite of Mara. Calm, grounded, honest. But she wasn't what I wanted. Or maybe I didn't know what I wanted anymore. Mr. Cole entered without knocking, his voice booming. Aiden, the investors are thrilled. The Cross Group is officially one of the fastest growing firms in the city. Good, I said flatly. He frowned. You could at least pretend to celebrate. I don't celebrate survival, Cole. I just maintain it. He laughed, clapping me on the shoulder. You're still too hard on yourself. Let the past go. Focus on what's ahead. I am, I said. That's the problem. He looked at me like a teacher watching a student waste his potential. You remind me of myself when I started. Hungry, angry. But listen, son. Anger burns quick. Build with vision, not vengeance. I leaned back, eyes cold. Vengeance is vision. It got me here, I sighed. Then pray it doesn't destroy you too. Zara gave me a faint smile after he left. You scare people when you talk like that. Not here to be liked. Then why do you look so lonely when no one's watching? Her words hit deeper than I wanted to admit. I looked away. Get me the merger files from the East Branch. She nodded, voice quieter. Yes, sir. When she left, I sat alone again. The city lights reflecting against the glass like ghosts of what I'd lost. 2 years ago, I was begging for rent. Now I signed million-dollar contracts. But the emptiness grew bigger with every success. My phone buzzed. Another message from a magazine asking for an interview. Aiden Cross, the man who built himself. I deleted it. I didn't build myself. She did by breaking me. I stood, staring out at the skyline. Debt, I whispered. That's what drives me. Not money. Not fame. Just debt. I thought about her voice, the way she said it. You're nothing without me. The words still lived inside me like a curse I refused to let go of. The elevator dinged. Zara's heels clicked rapidly as she hurried in. Her face looked different. Tense. Aiden, what is it? There's someone here to see you. I told you no walk-ins today. She said you'd want to make an exception. Who is it? Zara hesitated. She says she's from Linton Group. My blood ran cold. For the first time in 2 years, I felt my pulse race. I straightened my tie, trying to keep my voice steady. Send her up. Zara blinked. You sure? Yes. She nodded slowly and walked out. I stared at the rain streaking down the window. My reflection split between light and shadow. Linton Group. Her name. Her world, the empire I built, was about to meet the ghost that created it. The elevator doors slid open, and there she was. Mara Linton. 2 years older, sharper, wrapped in confidence like armor. Her black dress hugged her frame, her hair pinned perfectly, and her eyes, those same cold eyes that once watched me beg in the rain. For a moment, the air in my office stopped moving. Aiden Cross, she said, her voice calm, rehearsed. It's been a while. I stood, my hands steady on the desk, though my pulse wasn't. Mara. She smiled as if she hadn't ruined me. You look ... different. Success suits you. I forced a polite nod. And betrayal suits you. Still wearing it well? She tilted her head, unbothered. I expected that tone. But I didn't come here to fight. Then why are you here? She placed a folder on my desk, sliding it toward me with perfectly manicured fingers. Linton Group wants to partner with Cross Industries. A joint expansion project. We need your logistics network. I didn't touch the folder. Linton Group. Your family's empire. Interesting. I thought you'd never mix business with the people you used to pity. Her eyes flickered. That was a long time ago. Not long enough. She gave a faint smile. You still hold grudges. That's good. It means you still care. I leaned back in my chair, arms crossed. Care is expensive. I stopped paying that price. Her voice softened. I didn't come here to reopen wounds, Aiden. This deal could help both of us. Us. I repeated. There hasn't been an us for a long time. She looked around the room, eyes tracing the glass walls, the awards, the skyline. You really did it. You built everything you said you would. I built it because of what you said. Her lips parted slightly. You mean, that night? I met her gaze. Every word of it still echoes. For the first time, her mask cracked. A flicker of guilt. Or maybe curiosity. You should thank me then, she said quietly. I made you stronger. No. I stood, walking around the desk. You didn't make me stronger. You made me cold. She turned to face me. We were close now, too close. I could smell her perfume. The same one from that night in the rain. My chest tightened. Her voice was barely above a whisper. Maybe you needed that. Zara knocked softly, breaking the tension. Mr. Cross, the team is waiting for your approval. I didn't look away from Mara. Tell them to wait. Zara hesitated, sensing the shift in the air. Understood. She left quietly. Mara exhaled. She's loyal to you. She believes in what we're building, and she must not know what drives you. I stepped back. What drives me doesn't concern you. She smiled again, small and sharp. It always did. The silence between us was thick. The city lights reflected across the glass table, cutting through the distance like fractured memories. Finally. I picked up the folder she'd brought and flipped through it. This partnership. What's in it for you? She crossed her arms. Stability. Expansion. My company needs someone who can execute with precision. Or someone who can save it, I said. Her jaw tightened. You've done your research. I always do, I said. Especially when the ghost from my past shows up pretending she's here for business. Her voice turned sharp. Not everything is about you, Aiden. Funny you said the same thing when you left. She sighed, shaking her head slightly. I thought time would change you. It did, I said. Now I charge interest. Her lips twitched. Still dramatic, still dangerous. For a second, her eyes softened again. Then maybe we understand each other better than before. I leaned in just enough for her to feel my breath. No, Mara. I just understand what to protect myself from. The meeting ended in silence. She gathered her papers, smoothed her dress, and smiled like she hadn't just walked through my ghosts. As she reached the door, she looked back over her shoulder. You've done well for a man who is nothing. The words landed like a bullet I'd already been shot with once before. I waited until the door closed, my jaw clenched, my hands shaking. I pressed my palm flat against the glass table. The sound cracked through the office sharp. Clean, final. A thin line split through the glass under my hand. I stared at it. The fracture looked exactly like the one inside me. Asterisk, the city lights glowed beneath us like stars trapped in glass. The wind was sharp on the rooftop, carrying the scent of wine and ambition. Mara raised her glass first. To the man who proved me wrong, clinked mine against hers. The sound was too loud for comfort. Mr. Cole had warned me that afternoon. His voice still echoed in my head. Don't mix revenge with business, Aiden. It never ends clean. I told him I understood. I lied because when Mara walked into my office again, her proposal in hand, I didn't see a business deal. I saw a stage. A chance to turn her arrogance into regret. Now, sitting across from her under the city's glow, I told myself this was strategy, not weakness. So what made you say yes? She asked, her lips curving around the rim of her glass. Profit, I said flatly. Profit or pride? Her eyes searched mine. I looked away, pretending to study the skyline. You came here to talk numbers, not history. She smiled. History is what made you interesting. Zara stood a few feet away, pretending to scroll through her phone. Her eyes flickered between us like she was watching a fire she couldn't put out. I caught the faint twitch in her jaw, the one she tried to hide whenever Mara spoke my name. Mara leaned forward slightly, her voice low. You've changed. The old Aiden would have stumbled just standing near me. I laughed once, short and cold. The old Aiden didn't know people could pretend so well. Her smile didn't falter. Pretending is survival. You learned that too, didn't you? Zara stepped closer, interrupting. Ms. Linton, the presentation draft is ready for your review? Mara didn't even look at her. Not now. We're having a moment. Zara's lips parted as if to respond, but she just nodded and stepped back. I clenched my fist under the table. You don't talk to my team like that. Mara tilted her head. Still protecting everyone, aren't you? You never learned to protect yourself. The words slid under my skin like blades. I exhaled slowly, forcing calm. Enjoy the dinner, Mara. The deal is done. Let's keep it professional. She laughed softly, shaking her head. Professional. Sure. She stood, heels clicking on the marble floor, and walked toward the edge of the rooftop. The city reflected in her eyes when she turned back. I always knew you'd make it big, Aiden. I just didn't think you'd do it without me. I didn't answer. I didn't trust my voice. She walked back close enough that I could smell her perfume, familiar, haunting. She set her glass down beside mine and leaned in, her breath warm against my ear. Tell me, she whispered. Did you ever stop thinking about me, Aiden? The night seemed to still. My heartbeat filled the silence. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. Her eyes met mine, calm, daring, and for the first time in years, I couldn't tell if I wanted to win or to remember. The storm hit just after midnight. Rain hammered the glass walls of my office, lightning slicing through the skyline. The city below looked like it was drowning. Mara and I were the only ones left. The others had gone home hours ago. Power's out, I muttered as the lights flickered, then died. Only the glow from the emergency lamp painted the room in gold and shadow. She laughed softly, just like old times. You and me, trapped together. Don't make it sound romantic. She leaned against the desk, her perfume cutting through the scent of rain and coffee. You always hated quiet rooms. They made you think too much. And you always filled them with noise. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. The silence stretched, broken only by thunder. I tried focusing on the files in front of me, but her presence burned into my peripheral vision. Every movement, every breath, it pulled at something I thought I buried years ago. You've changed, she said. The Aiden I knew couldn't even look me in the eye. The Aiden you knew didn't know who you really were. Her expression faltered for a second, then hardened. You think I don't regret what happened? I laughed under my breath. Regret? You destroyed me, Mara. Then you walked away. And yet here you are, bigger than ever. Maybe I was your motivation all along. I turned away, jaw tight. You're not flattery material for me anymore, lightning flashed. For a heartbeat, her face looked softer, almost fragile. Eli left me, she whispered. I froze. What? She looked down, voice trembling just enough to sound believable. He took everything. The accounts, the shares, even my apartment. A storm rolled outside. Another one brewed inside me. Part of me wanted to feel pity. The other part remembered how it felt to beg her not to go. So, this is why you came back, I said quietly. Not for me. For shelter. She stepped closer until I could feel the warmth of her breath. You don't understand. I understand perfectly, I said. You're still surviving the only way you know how. Using people. Her eyes glimmered, but not with tears. With calculation, she placed her hand on my chest, right where my heart was racing. Tell me I don't still matter, Aiden. My pulse jumped. The air between us felt too small, too dangerous. I caught her wrist, ready to push her away. That's when I heard the door click open. Aiden. Zara stood there, rain dripping from her coat, her face pale in the dim light. Her eyes fell on Mara's hand against me. I stepped back instantly, but it was too late. Zara's voice broke. I see you're busy. She turned, before I could say anything. The sound of her heels echoed down the hall, fading into the storm. Mara's hand slid from my chest. She still thinks she matters. I looked at her, my voice low. She's not the only one who's wrong about that. Asterisk the next morning. She was already there. Same seat by the window. Same perfect smile. Morning, Mara said, placing a cup on my desk. Flat white. 2 sugars. The way you like it. I stared at the cup. You remembered. I remember everything, she said softly. Even the things I wish I could forget. I leaned back, watching her reflection in the glass. You've been showing up a lot lately. Maybe I missed this. Miss you. I said nothing. The sound of rain against the window filled the silence between us. She stepped closer. Aiden, that night I left. I was scared. You loved me too much, and I didn't know how to love back. Her voice trembled just right. Too perfect. Scared, I repeated. You called it ambition back then. She looked away, pretending to hold back tears. I'm trying to be honest. I wanted to believe her. For a second, I almost did. The way she looked at me, the way her voice softened when she said my name, it felt familiar. Dangerous. You hurt me, Mara, I said quietly. You don't get to walk in with coffee and rewrite history. She took a slow breath. I'm not rewriting. I'm asking for a chance to understand what I destroyed. Her words hung in the air like perfume, sweet, heavy, suffocating. I nodded once, pretending to accept it. Fine, we'll see. She smiled. That's all I need. Later that afternoon, I stayed late at the office. She was in the hallway, talking on her phone, unaware that her voice carried through the glass. I froze when I heard my name. He still cares, she whispered. It's working. Just give me a little more time. My grip tightened on the pen. The ink bled through the paper, kept black streak cutting across a contract. It's working. I stepped out quietly, but she'd already ended the call. She turned, surprised. You're still here. Yeah, I said evenly. Just finishing some numbers. She smiled again, like nothing happened. Good. You always worked too hard when you were angry. That's what made you unstoppable. I forced a small nod. Guess some things never change. When she left, the silence in the office felt heavier than usual. I looked at the coffee cup she'd brought earlier, half-empty lipstick on the rim. I picked it up, then dropped it in the trash. I wasn't that man anymore. I pulled out my phone and called Zara. She answered instantly. Aiden, you sound off. I need a favor, I said. My voice was calm, but inside every muscle was coiled. Get me every document we have on Linton Group. Financials, subsidiaries, offshore accounts, everything. There was a pause. Aiden, what's going on? I stared out the window at the city lights. I want to know what they're hiding. Zara stormed into my office before sunrise. Her hair was messy, her phone clutched tight. Aiden, you need to see this. She dropped a folder on my desk. My chest tightened as I flipped through it. Financial reports. Hidden debts. Loans under fake subsidiaries. Linton Group's falling apart, she said quietly. They're months away from bankruptcy. She's been using you to keep it alive. I stared at the numbers until they blurred. Every signature, every transfer, every meeting, all of it leading here. She needed me, I said, more to myself than her. Not for love. For survival. Zara's voice softened. You didn't deserve that? I stood, grabbed my coat, and headed for the door. No, but I'm going to make sure she does. The elevator doors opened to Mara's top-floor office. Everything gleamed, marble, glass, expensive lies. She was sitting behind her desk, pretending to read reports. When she saw me, she smiled faintly. You're early. Cut the act, Mara. Her hand froze on the pen. What are you talking about? I threw the folder on her desk. Your numbers, your debt. You've been lying since the day you walked back into my life. For a second, she didn't speak. Then she laughed. So Zara found out. She's always been too clever for her own good. You used me, I said quietly. Her expression cracked. I didn't have a choice. You always had a choice. You just chose yourself. She stood, her voice rising. You wanted revenge, didn't you? Congratulations. You got it. I needed saving. You built your empire. Are you happy now? I looked at her, mascara streaking, eyes wet, voice shaking. For years I'd imagined her crying for me. It didn't feel like victory. I thought I'd feel something, I said. But it's just empty. She took a step closer. Aiden, please. It wasn't all lies. I missed you. I shook my head. No, you missed control. Her lip trembled. You don't understand? Eli. I cut her off. Eli doesn't matter. Not anymore. Her tears fell harder. You told me once I'd regret walking away. Maybe I do. But you can't build happiness from hate. I turned for the door. You told me I was nothing. Turns out you were wrong. Her voice broke behind me. Aiden, wait. I didn't. Back at my office, Zara was waiting. She stood by the window, phone in hand, worry written all over her face. How did it go? I loosened my tie. As expected, she's finished. Zara hesitated, then said, not quite. She handed me her phone. You need to hear this. My pulse slowed as she showed me the document on screen, my company's shareholder registry. Zara, what is this? Her voice was small. Eli's name is on your company's shares. Everything inside me went still. Asterisk, tell me it's not true, Cole. My voice echoed through the empty boardroom. The city glowed behind the glass, cold and distant, like it was watching me fall apart. Mr. Cole didn't look surprised. He just sighed and adjusted his cufflinks. You already know the answer, Aiden. You sold my shares. To Eli. He nodded once. 20%. It was a smart move. He had the capital you needed for expansion. I slammed my hand against the table. Without telling me? You went behind my back. It was business. Don't make it emotional. I stared at him, the man who once taught me how to survive. You taught me to fight for everything I have. Was that just a test? He met my eyes, calm and cold. You're not a kid anymore. You built something great. But you forgot every empire has cracks. You're supposed to have my back. I did, he said quietly. Until you started letting revenge run the company instead of reason. I stepped closer. Say that again? You didn't flinch? You think you're winning, Aiden, but all I see is a boy still chasing a ghost in heels. My fists tightened. Get out of my office. Gave a faint smirk. I already have. You just don't realize it yet. When he left, the silence pressed in like weight. I looked around the office. The marble floors, the glass walls, the empire I'd built to prove I was more than her words. Now it was slipping through my fingers. I sank into my chair, my pulse pounding. Eli's name on my shares. Cole's betrayal. The empire was bleeding from the inside. My phone buzzed. Zara's name flashed, but I ignored it. I couldn't face her right now. Not when everything I stood for was crumbling. The storm outside grew louder. Thunder cracked, shaking the windows. Then a knock. It was soft, hesitant. When I opened the door, she was there. Mara. Her face was pale, makeup streaked, a bruise on her cheek. Her hands trembled as she held a folder to her chest. What happened to you? I asked. She looked up, her eyes glassy. Eli, he betrayed me too. My heart kicked hard. What do you mean? She stepped inside, closing the door behind her. He took everything. My position, my company, and now he's coming for you. I stared at her, trying to read the truth beneath her tears. You expect me to believe you? She opened the folder and threw it on my desk. You don't have to. Just read it. Pages scattered, contracts, signatures, shell company transfers. Eli's name was everywhere. She wiped her tears with a shaking hand. I wanted to hurt you once, but not like this. I took a step back, my mind racing. Why come to me? I asked. Because, she whispered, voice breaking. You're the only one he can't control. Her eyes met mine, raw, desperate. Thunder rumbled again as I whispered. Then what does he want now? She swallowed hard. He wants you gone, Aiden. Completely. The glass walls of my office reflected fire. Not real fire, but the kind that eats through everything you've built. Every news channel screamed my name. Aiden Cross, The fallen genius. The empire collapsing. My phone buzzed nonstop. Investors, lawyers, reporters. But then came her voice. "Calm through the storm," Mara said. "He's doing it." Aiden, Eli filed the takeover, stood by the window, watching the city lights flicker like dying stars. "I knew he would," I said, "but not this fast." She walked in a moment later, rain dripping from her hair, clutching a folder. "Then we don't have time. He bribed half the board. The rest are scared. But this." She lifted the folder. "This could bury him." I took it, hands trembling. Inside were contracts, wire transfers, and names that shouldn't have been there. "Where did you get this?" Her eyes darted away. "Does it matter? If we leak it tonight, Eli won't survive the fallout. I could feel my heartbeat in my throat, and you'll go down with him. You were his partner in those early deals." She met my eyes. "Then let me burn for it." I stepped closer. "Why are you doing this for me?" She looked up, eyes glossy under the dim light. "Because once, I thought destroying you would make me feel powerful. But watching you fight for everything alone made me realize who really lost." I wanted to speak, to tell her I never stopped caring, but she pressed her fingers against my lips. "No words, Aiden. Just finish this." She opened her laptop and began typing. I watched her hands move fast, furious. Every keystroke felt like a heartbeat counting down to the end. "Mara, if this goes public, Eli's done. But so are we." "Me. Then let's end it together." A file uploaded. Within minutes, every major outlet had it. Eli's empire exploded online. Fraud, bribes, offshore accounts. The man who tried to bury me was now drowning in his own lies. Mara leaned back, letting out a shaky breath. "It's over." But I knew better. The air felt wrong. Too quiet. To final, an hour later, Eli's lawyers were outside my building. Police sirens echoed in the distance. My phone rang again. Reporters shouting my name. I shut everything off. When I turned, Mara was gone. Her laptop sat open, still glowing faintly. On my desk, a small folded note. "You were never nothing. I just didn't deserve you." The words hit harder than any betrayal. My chest ached as I sank into the chair, staring at her handwriting. Zara burst into the room, breathless, her voice trembling. "Aiden, I've been calling you." It stood slowly. "What is it?" She hesitated, eyes glistening. "It's Mara. She's gone." I frowned. "Gone where?" Zara swallowed hard. "Her car was found near the bridge." Door open. Phone inside. The sound left my throat before I could stop it. Part anger, part fear, part something I didn't want to name. I ran past Zara, down the hall, into the cold night. The city lights blurred as I drove toward the bridge. The rain hit harder, soaking through my clothes. My empire might have survived the night, but my heart, it was burning to ashes, and all I could think was one question. Was this her way of saying goodbye, or another test I wasn't meant to pass? Fade out. Asterisk rain fell hard that night, tapping against the glass like an old song I didn't want to remember. My office was quiet, just the hum of the city far below. The empire I built stood tall. My name filled magazines, screens, and contracts. Yet inside, there was nothing left to celebrate. I closed my laptop and grabbed my coat. As I stepped into the hallway, my reflection followed in the dark glass. But there was another figure behind it. A faint outline. A woman standing outside in the rain. I froze when I turned. She was really there. Soaked, trembling, her hair clinging to her face. Mara. She didn't move for a moment. Then she smiled, small and tired. "You still say my name like it hurts." My voice came out rough. "Because it does." I walked toward her, the sound of rain mixing with the echo of my footsteps. She looked thinner, paler, her eyes quieter than I remembered. "You survived," I said. She nodded. The bridge wasn't the end I thought it would be. I swallowed, unsure whether to step closer or stay away. "Why are you here?" She looked up at the towering building behind me. My name shone in gold letters above the glass doors, because I needed to see it. You built everything I dreamed of without me. Her voice cracked at the end, just enough to pull at the part of me I'd tried to bury. I exhaled, shaking my head. And I lost everything I loved because of you. For a second, neither of us spoke. Only the rain answered, falling between us like a wall. She took a step forward. You think I don't know that? Every night I saw your face in the dark, every headline, every story about you rising higher while I sank lower. I deserved it. I felt my jaw tighten. Then why come back now? To say I'm sorry, she whispered. Not to be forgiven. Just to say it. Her hand reached up to wipe a tear, but it was lost in the rain. I wanted to hate her. I wanted to walk past her and never look back. But when she looked up at me, her eyes were the same ones that once believed in me before anyone else did. I sighed. You hurt me in ways I didn't think were possible. She nodded slowly. And you hurt me by becoming everything I was too weak to be. Lightning cracked across the sky. For a heartbeat, her face lit up. The same woman who once told me I'd be nothing without her. I stepped closer, my hand almost reaching for hers, then stopped. You're too late, Mara. I know, she said, her voice trembling. But I had to see the man I broke. To see what he became. I turned away, my chest heavy. You're looking at him. As I walked toward my car, her voice cut through the rain. Aiden. I stopped. Don't walk away again. I closed my eyes. The rain hit harder now, soaking through my coat, stinging my skin. For a moment, I wanted to turn back, to hold her, to forgive. But when I opened my eyes, I could see my reflection in the car window, cold, tired, unrecognizable. Without another word, I got in and started the engine. Through the glass, I saw her still standing there, small, broken, as I drove away. Her silhouette faded in the mirror until there was nothing left but rain and city lights. And for the first time, I understood. Revenge gave me power, but love hers was the price. Fade out.